What does it feel like, Rob? I mean, you see the enthusiasm. You might not know Cooper McDonald, but there's a kid who deserves everything he just received.
Listen, I mean, when you come across the line, and if it's getting that pole position, picking up a win, even getting on the podium, everybody has a different goal when it comes to racing. Some, to make the field, others to make that top 10. You crack the top 5. Now this guy has the adulation and the confidence heading into tomorrow that he's the man to beat right now.
Yeah, he is the guy to beat.
Not only that, he's had a rough year. He's had a lot of struggles too. So I think that's one reason why things haven't went his way, and finally caught a break today and put it all together, and it was cool to see.
Well, you'll talk about putting the brakes on today. It's going to be 30 minutes from now. You'll talk about giving these guys some practice time. They're going to get to run here later on in the day. It's the godfather, I won't call you grandfather, the godfather of the track specialist, King of the Baggers, Rob Bidos, we had just talked about. We saw this is our third attempt at the track today, and I'm sure some of the guys working through, even Herod said the bike just wasn't there. But, I mean, he's used to riding, a bad boy. These are bad boys in a different way.
Well, I think they've all done a little bit of, and what they're figuring out is that in between each and every session, there's improvements to be made in the bike, whether it's just adjusting levers, they're adding some preload, some rebound. They're getting the things all set up so that they work a lot better. I know that a lot of the guys they were over at the Olin's truck making spring changes. So I think we're going to see, and you guys know better than anybody, that you're chasing the bike all day long until you start to get it right. And I think at this point, you're going to see what these bikes are capable of. The PM machine, the number 50 out on the track, Josh Herron, obviously you're not only familiar with his abilities on the bike, but PM, one of the leader in the aluminum game. They make wheels, they make brakes, they make calipers and rotors. And again, the drag specialty catalog is a great way to go.
Performance machine when you say PM, right?
Performance machine. I apologize for some of the folks that maybe aren't familiar with their moniker, but it's Performance Machine, and man, they've been around a long time. Roland Sands' father started the company years ago, and now they're still one of the biggest brands in V-twin.
I know Roland, built one of the bikes out there. Have you seen him? Is he on site here this weekend?
Absolutely, yeah. He is, and there's Tyler O'Hare on his bike. The folks from S&S were able to put that Challenger together, and pretty much every time on the track they're setting an even more impressive lap time. They're kicking it off with the 139, so it's only going to get faster.
Well, I mean, for these guys, it's just so much of the unknown, not racing at having these bikes on a lot of tracks, and especially not a track like Laguna. I mean, you've heard guys talk about it today. That one guy said it was like a roller coaster and all this up and down compared to all these other tracks that they've been to. I bet they haven't been to a track with this kind of elevation before.
Well, they've been to pretty much, I think, Buttonwillow, is it called?
Chuckwalla, yeah.
Chuckwalla. I mean, that's kind of where they've been. They're all pretty much from the Southern California area. I know that the guys from the Trask team come over from the Phoenix area, but this is where they're all from, so they've been in that area. Now, the Indian that we see right there, Tyler O'Hara, they built that bike, I believe, back in Wisconsin at S&S, so I'm not exactly sure where they were able to go, if they even came out here and rented the facility. And
no, I think I've seen him testing at Buttonwillow.
Yeah,
I've seen him ride it somewhere. That's whenever I was like, dang, this went from exposition to a race.
Raj, as well as I do. If we were pushing golf carts down the thing, you'd be all into it, trying to find an inside line. And Tyler O'Hara right now doing a great job on the Indian, backing it in.
I know. I still want to see what CD player he's got in there, because, I mean, looking at that front fairing and everything, there's enough room to, have a cup holder and, work through the 6-disc and everything else, because this isn't a full-blown super bike, but they perform pretty. This isn't also a typical bagger by any means either. It seems like he almost might have a little more competitive advantage over the rest of the guys. I think they've got $1 or $2 into that bike. How much? Give me a guesstimate. What do you think they have into that bike?
It's hard to say. The bikes start off obviously in the $20,000 range. They've gone to a lot of the carbon fiber, suspension upgrades, motor upgrades. I mean, these are probably some of the more expensive bikes that you've seen in action, and other than MotoGP bikes and things like that. But the thing about it is, I believe if you were to build one of these, it's kind of similar to a flat track bike. It may be competitive for 4, 5, 6 years. The technology doesn't really chase these around where, have you heard about the new cam? You heard about, like the super bike guys. So I think if you built one of these and you amortized it over, say, 4 years of racing,
it equals out.
It's not that bad.
But I'm hearing over 100,000.
Oh, I would think some of the guys have for sure. And I think a normal race bike has to be in that $60,000, $70,000 range when you get down to it. But Yeah, these guys, you know, and the V-twin market has always leaned towards the let's make something really trick and custom and, you know, kind of throw the checkbook out the window and make something cool. But right now, that number 150 bike, Tony Salima, he's out there on the Speed Merchant Road Glide, and I know the folks from Speed Merchant have been doing great work getting this bike ready. They've spent some time on the track, and looks like they're putting down a pretty quick lap as well as they get ready to start to dip in. As you mentioned, it's some green in the S1 section.
The thing, Rob, when I heard them fire up this morning, they were the first bikes that hit the track. I went to the fence to watch. I think if we were allowing fans here, Raj, everybody would come to the fence to watch. The riders that are racing here in their other classes come to the fence to watch these guys do what they do. It's pretty impressive. And I know the thing is to try and sell parts, you know, and stuff. That's the end goal for these guys. I think you will see a lot of more modified baggers out on the road that more race than necessarily convenience. If you want to say, I think you'll see more peppy stuff.
Well, I mean, you mentioned going to the catalog, the drag fat book, and you go in there and you start with suspension, motor, brakes, and then you get the ergonomics set up and start lighting it up with some components that take weight off, and the next thing you know, you're in this genre of bike. And, you know, it's easy to go to one area to get it all done. And, the whole goal of this was to show everybody what's possible, and now it's morphed into, hey, you guys may be building them and coming out racing 3 rounds next year. Yeah. So the world may really get to truly experience what a road racing environment is.
Yeah. And again, there are requirements that they're having to build under and around, and a lot heavily modified bikes. Somebody came over my ear and asked, what do they have in those bags? Nothing, right? I mean, there's not a gallon of milk and some eggs or anything else in there. We're not got the rain suit and everything else. These are race bikes, and I know they're joking, but
I don't know. You never know. These guys might have they like to have a good time too. Don't get it twisted. They like to have fun when they're here. So the 79 bike, the Vance and Hines entrance. I saw Terry Vance down in the paddock earlier today, and he's from behind the handlebars himself in the quarter mile to so many race wins on so many different brands of bikes, and he's real excited about where they are right now. Frankie Garcia slides up into the number 2 spot, so it's Indian, Hayden Gillum. Ben Bostrom finds himself into the number 4 spot with the 147, and I know that his lap times will dip as well. Bostrom on the fueling road glide.
Well, he said he didn't want to show his hand too soon, so.
You don't want to tip it. 137 now for Tyler O'Hara, 140 for Frankie Garcia on the Roland Sands Indian, and Hayden Gillum on the Vance and Hines bike. Ben Bostrom out there on the fueling road glide. Josh Herring on the Performance Machine Street Glide. Michael Woolaway on the Saddleman back road glide. Tony Somalia on the, I believe he's on a road glide as well. Eric Stahl putting in his first laps of the time and already moved up into P8. And you see him on the white bike. They call that machine the mullet. He says it's all work in the front and it's party in the rear. And here comes the Vance and Hines bike on the outside trying to jump into his draft. And
the mullet was trying to get a little chicken wing right there, wasn't he?
These things are, I mean, they got to be hard to shift, right? Like a normal.
There's no speed shifter on that.
Yeah, there's no speed shifter on here, right? Like on a road race bike, we don't have to shut off. They have to roll out of it a little bit to shift, right?
Well, you can kind of get on it. They don't work bad. Obviously, the Barnett clutches, and there's some aftermarket exhaust parts or transmission parts, but they don't work too bad. But, yeah, you got to get a foot in it. That 99 machine, the mullet, and that's the Alloy Art bike, and it's great to see them out. Eric Stahl behind the handlebars on that machine. They've done some work. Now, these guys normally build a bike for the Born Free show, which would be kind of more of the free-spirited Harley custom bike shows. And when they got moved into this division, they said, all right, we're going to kind of focus direction and go from a road glide that should be at a bike show to a road glide on a racetrack. And here they are, the number 99 machine.
Yeah, and he's 8th quickest right now. And Travis Wyman not on track. I wonder what's going on there. Jamie, you got him?
Well, Travis, you got off the bike and everybody kind of went to work. What's going on right now?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe we're having a clutch issue right now, but this is all kind of foreign to me. It's all new. It's a lot of fun. These guys built a great bike. We made a big change here suspension-wise, and I was looking forward to getting a feel for it. But not sure what's going on right now, but I'm pretty confident the guys can get it figured out. We'll get back out there, hopefully.
Talk about riding these bikes compared to the stock 1000 bike we're used to seeing you on.
We can hear you.
I used to jump back and forth between the XR 1200s and my Super Sport bike back in the day. And it used to be fairly easy for me. I just kind of flip a switch and be able to jump from one bike to the next. But this is a completely different animal, so it does take a couple laps to kind of get used to it. It makes my S1000 actually feel small. So, but we got the hang of it. In stock, we ended up on the front row, so I'm happy with that. And we were just really starting to get comfortable with this thing, so hopefully we can get back out there.
What is it about this that made you want to give it a shot? It's brand new. It's the first time we've seen it. Why'd you want to be a part of it?
You know, Harley-Davidsons in the family. My grandfather started the dealership back in the day, and Mom, she took it over. And I've been around Harleys my whole life. So when I got the call from the Tracks boys to come out and ride their bike, I was like, yeah, why not? We'll give it a shot. So hopefully we can get back out there. Like I said, these guys put a lot of time and effort into this thing, and I owe all of them to give me this opportunity. So we'll see. Yeah.
Thank you, Travis.
Thanks.
And yeah, Travis literally does have Harley-Davidson in his blood, as we see Tyler O'Hara continue to set fast lap times in that 137 range. But there's a guy who, when he said his 1,000 seems like it's a lightweight compared to these bikes. I mean, he ain't joking, it is. But I mean, you said something interesting earlier. They've lost the amount of weight that his normal race bike weighs.
Yeah, just about. They've gone from the mid 800s to mid 5s. Some of them are in the low 6s, but certainly competitive. And you see the machines getting around the track. I know that we had posted up that this was happening, and folks were wondering what kind of damage they were going to do to the track. And it doesn't look like guys are digging into the tarmac at all around the facility. They have these bikes set up. You see them drifting into the corners. There's Michael Woolaway right there, one of the only builders/riders of the bike. So he was able to create this with David Eckert and the gang from Saddlemen. They put a lot of work and time and effort into it. I believe a bunch of these parts may find their way to the market. And there he heads down the front straight, all tucked in, grabbing gears on the 87 Saddlemen mount.
And he come from Honolulu, Hawaii. Well, he had the longest drive here, I guess.
He could have, yeah. I think it was down in the, I think he lives down near the LA area. He works at Saddlemen, and they took a lot of time, and him and Chris and David put this thing together, and we see him getting around the track pretty good out there.
You missed my drive part, didn't you, whenever I said Hawaii?
I know, I got it.
I know.
You could have flew over
I'd say I do that with Roger all the time. He goes, oh, that's bad. He busts me on my dad jokes.
He does?
Oh, they're bad.
Not good?
Bad.
20 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going,
huh?
Rob. You got to hit him a time or two. I mean, you get to do the motocross scene. I'm sure you get to hear some bad ones throughout the year.
Oh, I mean, we, myself and Megawatt and the rest of the crew that do outdoor motocross, we have a good time with it as well. But, oh, for sure, you start talking for 19 hours a day, and you'd be amazed some of the horrible things that come out of your mouth.
Yeah, and I know Roger, he follows the motocross scene. I still do as well. And we see these guys, they do the same thing. I'm impressed by Tyler O'Hara because he was getting down the low 137s. It looks like overall fastest sector 1 and 2. He might even get into the 36 range this time around.
I think he got held up in the last sector, sector 4.
Yeah, he dropped back, and he's still on about 7/10 quicker than even Hayden Gillum is. But yeah, both Indians up on top. I don't think that's really a surprise there. I mean, like Roger said, he said when they do something, they do it full bore.
Liquid cool's, really big help. You get nice close tolerances and things like that. But listen, these guys all had some time to get their bikes ready. I think everybody's having a heck of a good time. Moving forward, I think you'll see a real proper hardcore rule book get set up. But again, everybody down there is having the time of their lives, ripping around a legendary track like this. It's Wayne Rainey's birthday, so how much better does it get than that? And then to come out here and be part of history being made at the Bagger Road Racing Series. The folks from Drag Specialties are back watching. I know that I talked with Jim Matchett and Rob Bluma and Tom Motzko earlier today. They're glued to the set, watching how this is playing out. And I think 2021 is going to be an amazing year for what's able to happen here.
And Roger, you're talking about the shifting as we take a look at the 77 of Ben Bostrom, the rider out of Las Vegas on fueling parts. Harley, talk about the shifting wise. They do have like speed shifters for the drag bikes and stuff like that, but I mean, are there really a case where you'd ever need to see a road glide with a speed shifter, set up for this type of application? If there ever wasn't a need for it, there may be now if they continue at this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to develop out of this. There's so many aftermarket companies that are involved, and they're so quick to react whenever they see an opening. The mid-mount controls, you see everybody's lost the floorboards, except for Logan Lackey. And he has his radio on, too, so that playlist. Right. Raj, what would you have on your playlist if you were down there?
Probably, honestly, it'd be sports talk radio.
You'd be listening to some...
we actually have something in common, Roger, and I thought, you're a brother from a different mother. That's pretty good.
K-Love.
Yeah.
Oldie but moldies for you, Rob, I'm thinking?
Me? No, man. I'm all with the hip-hop, me and Post Malone. No, that's my daughter. That's in the car. That's what I listen to. So O'Hara, number 29 on the Indian with the 137. Frankie Garcia on the Indian now in second with the 140. Hayden Gillum, a 141. Ben Bostrom in fourth, 145. And Corey West on the Sly Fox Road Glide jumps up into the number 5 spot in front of Heron, Woolaway Stall. Soma Chisholm, number 48 on the Barnett bike. And Logan Lackey throwing up a 158, so he cracks the 2-minute mark. Travis Wyman on that turbo, not on it. And Michael Barnes has not made a lap yet today, but I know they're, again, thrashing back there on that Bassani machine.
Can some of these guys change the shifting, like how we shift backwards? It looks like some of these guys are shifting the GP style.
I know that there's been some rear sets built, and I don't know, I haven't gone down and inspected how the mechanism's working, but everybody seems to be getting around just fine. Frankie Garcia on the Roland Sands Indian Challenger. You mentioned earlier, Raj, that he's grown up racing around here, being a flat track racer, and he said he's pumped to be back at Laguna Seca and rolling.
He grew up in Salinas, didn't he?
Real nice and close.
Tyler looks like he's, and I questioned whether, I was like, he looked like he was on a fast lap, a 36.7, so the only rider in the 36s, and he's almost a full 4 seconds clear of the field. Garcia likewise on an Indian, still 4 seconds behind. It looks like the race will be for second and third as it looks on paper. Second and third look really close, but O'Hara seems to have the mark right now.
O'Hara needs to slow down a little bit if that rule book's really going to come down hard on him.
He's going to, how much weight are we talking? We're going to have to do the P.J. Jacobson deal. You got to, don't show him what you got too early.
And we see that Sly Fox bike come back into view with Corey West at the helm. Working that thing around, the polished swing arm, the polished exhaust. One of the few bikes that has gone back with a little bit of chrome. Kind of an homage to the custom bike scene, but man, that bike looks like it's working really well for him.
Yeah, got to be chrome, just that highly polished aluminum.
I think these guys got stainless and they got some titanium and carbon fiber. I mean,
no doubt there.
Oh, yeah. Here he comes.
Yeah, but if you're going to have aluminum, you might as well go ahead and hit the buffer on it.
Oh, yeah, that thing looks tight and right heading up to the top of the hill here. And the photographers this weekend, they got to be going bananas, all the different unique kind of angles and shapes they have coming into their view lens. Tucked in, getting the gears through the gears. And you can hear just a little bit at the far side just how nice those things sound as they're up on the pipe.
Purring like a kitten.
Oh, yeah.
He was doing the double arm shift, too. I mean, you got some Guy Cooper action going with him.
Oh, you get some Guy Cooper going out there. Stillwater, Oklahoma coming in the house. And then we were down there a little bit earlier in the paddock, and we were talking with Logan Lackey, and he said his big influence came from Donnie Cantalupi on an FXR riding wheelies in front of his house.
No kidding.
So you got factory Yamaha motocrosser out there showing him around and got him excited about Harleys.
We got a big vintage race going on in SoCal this weekend. I believe Mouth of the South, Larry Huffman and my buddy Rick Lake announcing that one. I think it was at Glen Helen or somewhere.
I'm sure it is. There's so much racing that goes on in this region. And they still have the number 9 machine out there as he continues to put in amazing laps. Alex Fox has to be over the moon. Fred Fox and Paula Fox probably watching back in Janesville, Wisconsin as the Sly Fox glide comes back into view. We still haven't gone and rented Raj a bike yet for tomorrow's. I'm going to get him in the May.
Well, I couldn't get off work.
I'll sit in for you.
Couldn't get off work.
Give me 8 minutes. That's all we need. You come right back up and finish it up. It's the end of the day.
I'm thinking about how often these guys are racing. I know some of them do still race, but how often these guys race, they got to be breathing a little. Got to be gasping for some air, having to work these bikes around there for this long. This is a long session.
Yeah, my buddy Josh Chisholm out there is putting in a strong ride on the Barnett number 48 Street Glide. Now they've owned this bike for quite a while. It's got a Jim's 131 in it, And, Chance really did adhere to the rule book. This bike right here truly is super close. Something you could probably plug a headlight in and ride all the way back home and still get out on the track and turn well over 100 miles an hour in the traps.
Well, those guys you hear coming through the neighborhood, just pushing the speed limit, of course.
Just touching it.
How quick you get there is another story. But, I mean, if it's 45, he's not going more than 45. He did it in 2 seconds.
13 minutes to go, and these machines continue to drop lap times. A 136 for the Indian, a 140 for the Indian, and everybody is close. You mentioned the battle for second tomorrow. Will be the final race of the day. It's going to be, I think somebody's going to tune in a lot to watch this. I know the folks at Drag Specialties have told every rep.
MotoAmerica.com or MotoAmerica Live Plus. They need to subscribe.
Right. And then they've told every dealer, and there's dealers having watch parties across the country. So for all those dealers that are out there watching it right now, we can't wait to see what happens tomorrow.
It's on Harley-Davidson TV, I think, as well. They're going to be pushing it as well.
There's so many avenues to watch it. I hope somebody finds the one that works the best. Get it on one of those 84-inch screens and make it cool. There's the slide glide in a little battle right now with Frankie Garcia, the 9 and the 14. So that's Corey West.
One guy that we need in here, Raj, I don't know if you're aware of this. We just saw the Twins Cup come off the track. Who more Twins Cup bikes? The Robin Engineering, Mike Kopolis. Remember how I talk about him building all those motors for the Kopolis team? He actually rides a bagger during the weekday for his day job. He's a cop in North Carolina. So he probably has more experience on a bagger than anybody else in the field. We need to get him out here on one of these maybe, the next time we're at a track. That would be interesting. He puts the cop in Kopolis.
I got a couple friends that ride like motorcycle cops, straight back, sitting up tall in the saddle, like Ponch and John coming down the street. 11 minutes to go. In the view, Frankie Garcia on the Rolling Sands bike, the slide glide, road glide. There's Frankie right there.
Ponch and John, that's funny. And Penhall was the fastest of them all.
He certainly was. He went out and run them down. Remember, he had a blue shirt, though. Everybody else had the tan shirts.
Well, he was like the rookie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a rookie. So practice session will be the final one. This will set the tone. They'll be on the track one more time tomorrow just for a warm-up. But then final race of the day, they'll go to the grid. We'll get these boys gridded up. Right now it'll be Tyler O'Hara, Frankie Garcia, then Hayden Gillum on the front line. Ben Bostrom would start in the second row with Corey West and Josh Herron. Woolaway, Salima, and Stahl. Chisholm, Logan Lackey, and Travis Wyman. Now, Wyman's times earlier in the day were pretty quick. I think that would get him a better gate.
It's going to move him up a little bit.
Yeah, he was able to get up there quicker earlier in that P2 session.
What about Michael Barnes? Will he make it for the race? Or
they'll have a chance to thrash on that thing through the night, and they have a host of people down there. I think they're chasing. When they find it, it's going to be the smallest little thing that, just like anything that you should have looked at first.
Electrical though?
No, it was a lifter, I believe it was. But we know these guys down there know their way around these motors, so they'll get them right.
Yeah, the motor things is typical thing. I would say if it was an electrical issue like Josh Herron had earlier, then it gets tough. Chasing those electrical things. His was just a literal plug-in that affected him. And
these things don't have traction control and all that, Robbie. You know that, don't
yeah,
you?
Sure they do.
It's this one right here, Roger. I keep telling you about that thing. I wish it was like the old days.
You don't hear these guys talking about the
wheelie control.
Yeah, the wheelie control and
the engine braking.
Working on the mapping.
Yeah, their engine braking is there.
Well, there's plenty of mapping. These are all fuel-injected machines. I'd have to check if maybe somebody did go to the carburetor just to get rid of all the wiring weight, but that'd be a pretty big stretch.
Yeah, I don't think those wires weigh that much that it would affect your...
I think they got like a 15-pound wiring harness of just fuel injection stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big time of wires there. Time is getting down to the bare minimum. Under 10 to go. 9 minutes and 16 seconds. I haven't seen anybody Valentino Rossi drag that foot yet on one of these.
No. Nobody's going to touch Tyler O'Hara either. I mean, he's purple throughout. Speeds, speed 125.6 still fastest out of everybody. But you have 24s, 23s out there. They're still hauling.
So the warm-up in the morning won't
affect it.
Won't change the grid.
I don't believe so. I mean,
no.
But, hey, you guys are the road racing professionals.
No, it has them just as a warm-up, a 15-minute warm-up. So this is their Q2 would be it. 35-minute session, I believe.
You're looking at the trap times at 125, and you slide down to the number 4 qualifier, Ben Bostrom. He put up a 124.9 the last times through. Now he's pulled into the paddock area, so he may be happy with his gate pick. That might be enough. Back to the number 9 Sly Glide out there. Alex Fox, the founder of that company, Fred Fox and Paula, like I said, sitting at home. I know this is kind of near and dear. Fred was sitting there at that first meeting down at Newport Elks Club, and I'm sure that he's excited to see how this thing's come out. You got to be somewhere where you can have a frosty beer, and I'm telling you, in a napkin, you can drop anything in motorcycle worlds. Oh, that number 50 bike of Josh Heron. He does have a cool set of leathers on. I like those things. You know, he looks good on the bike. Tucked in behind him is the 150 machine of Tony Salima. He's on that Speed Merchant bike, and they've seen the hookup out there. I love when we get a couple of these into the same shot. It really gives us that look at what we're going to see tomorrow in the main event.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's going to be fun because you're going to see them literally rubbing elbows and rubbing rubbing backers.
The thing is
doesn't sound right, but I mean,
it's not like they're going to get a practice start. All these guys are going to go down into turn 1. You know, cold.
With a big question mark of what it's going to be like being side by side.
Oh, we have our first rider down. It's Frankie Garcia. What a
pit.
tough break. The Roland Sands Challengers upside
right here
down.
in the pit.
Dude, that was right.
I think he flipped it.
At the start, he did. So some guys, this is right in front of our vantage point. Some guys were doing literally practice starts out of the launch. I wonder if something happened to him and he spun out or something taking off.
I don't know if he tried to do a wheelie and it flipped.
Because literally they stop or slow down right here at the cones, right where they're at, where that car is.
That thing got twisted up pretty good right there. I certainly hope Frankie's okay. We see the medical crew immediately on the scene attending to him. So obviously our best wishes go out to the number 14 of Frankie Garcia.
I see Roland Sands running over there.
And that's our Q2 qualifier right now as well.
What a tough break, and certainly a unique place on the track. We don't know what happened, but super unfortunate. And the medical crew immediately on the scenes here. This is the Q3 practice session.
You see Heron pulling in, shaking his head side to side, and he had those electrical difficulties earlier. I hope he's not having to deal with something else as
it's
well.
right here on where Frankie crashed. It's right here on pit exit, so I don't know.
And some of those guys were literally stopping. You see the cones there and the flag. They were stopping them and releasing them. And I heard a couple of guys doing like almost, right when you said practice starts, they were almost seeing like what this bike would do on a launch situation.
Yeah, you see Corey West practicing the start there. I don't know if he flipped it maybe.
These things are making big horsepower, tons of torque. So getting a wheelie out of one of these things is not a problem, and a tough break for the 14. And we certainly hope that he's okay. We see him being attended to down on the track, the bike being pushed off.
A big heavy bike like that. Again, we're just guessing. You hope he wasn't planting a foot, anything else like that. The bike going down, no question about that. And we don't want to guess on physically anything what's wrong, other than we hope that everything is all right with Frankie Garcia, who is qualifying in second as it stands right now. The last qualifier for these guys with a little over 5 minutes remaining in their session. Qualifying practice number 3 has been 35 minutes. They've been out there on the track. The 77 of Ben Bostrom still in 4th right now. He'll start on that second row.
All right, if Ben Bostrom's been sandbagging, it's time right now to, under 5 to go, it's time to uncork it.
We're going to see what he has up his sleeve right there. We see that machine starting to get a little bit loose underneath him. Looking down the track, got his eyes up, grabbing gears.
The cool thing about this is for next year, he'll have the 155 on there. So as soon as you see it, you're going to know exactly who it is.
Outstanding. We're glad to see Frankie Garcia up on his feet as he makes his way back. And, man, you hate to see that happen, but a little bit of wince in his eyes, but it looks like he's going to be okay as he takes a seat on the pit wall. Ben Bostrom on that fueling road glide right now. The Alpine Star leathers gleaming into the sunset as he makes his way to the back section of the track. Machine streaming by here.
I think Frankie just had to gather his emotions for a little while. He looks to be doing better than I thought he was going to be in. As we still look at Ben Bostrom circulating this track. What I think looks so funny and ironic is look at the foot position of those guys. I mean, just looks so much different than we see, like the super bikes or throughout our classes. I mean, looks like a comfy ride, Rob.
These guys are in comfort, style,
horsepower.
You know. I mean, you got it all. I mean,
lightweight, horsepower. I mean, what more could you ask for in a place to, pack a couple shirts?
Back it in, doing everything you want to do. This is like the most utilitarian bike you can have. It does everything. Ride at the church, then go to the racetrack, take it home, go out on a date. I mean, very versatile. And let's see if we can change something up here.
Would you do a 2-seater ride with Ben Bostrom on that thing, Roger?
With Ben, yeah, I would.
You would? Okay, just checking, because I would not. I'm just checking.
Well, I wouldn't with you.
Yeah,
with Ben, yeah.
I would. You would see if you could throw me off of there, but with Ben, you would do it. I can see you doing it.
Wow, we're under 3 to go now. 2:56, final session.
Who we got out here on a good? We got Corey West is on a good one.
Yeah, he threw a couple of greens out there. I was like, you're not going to see anybody really jump up, but we might see West get a little closer to Ben. He's 4 seconds arrears right now.
Yeah, he's running about a second a session slower, so there'd be 3. And the last time we checked in, he was 4 off. So right now in these top 3 sessions, he's 1 off of where Bostrom's at.
It's really second and third seem to be the tightest, and you want to see that battle for the podium spot. Hayden Gillum not racing all year at MotoAmerica. No matter what bike he's on, he's going to want to go out there and try and win, at least finish second. Garcia, hopefully, it looks like he's off of the track and off of the sidelines now, and Roland Sand's going to see what kind of work he has to do to get that bike going.
See Mike Buckley from Dunlop Tires out on the track, and he and Roland conversing right now, probably getting a little bit of the report on what happened. And again, we certainly hope that Frankie's okay and we see him back in action tomorrow.
Hadn't seen Mike in a while. Good to see him out there. It almost looks like he's grabbed a handful and a loop out kind of thing. And the way I'm looking at the hand signals, we have to, identify with. They talk with their hands in this racing world here.
Now they got us back on that slide glide, road glide, and he is tucked in down there. He's going to maybe try one more time. This last time, less than a second slower than Bostrom through the first session, about 6:10, so he's starting to knock him down. I think these things just look so cool as they make their way up. I've been waiting for that first turn photo, though. I want to see 4 or 5 come in there with the stack behind them. I think it's just going to be absolutely amazing.
What I like is all the horsepower and the braking ability, but all in a lightweight. Like me, I couldn't imagine riding a bag around normally with all of that weight. I mean, I don't hit the gym like you do, Rob, but I mean, having a lightweight bike like this and still looking good, that's something I can deal with.
I do, whether it's working out or running, bicycle, that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. If I'm not doing that, I'm probably at the salad bar somewhere, just grazing.
Of course.
Yeah, look at these guys dragging knees on baggers. I don't think we thought we were going to see that, but we've seen it all day long. Under a minute to go. I'm sure the drag specialty reps and dealers are at home going, this is absolutely unbelievable. The air cleaners, the motor, the brakes, the suspension, the ergonomics, everything's changing. Lightweight components. And there goes the number 9 slide glide.
It's his last lap. He got down in the 45s.
And to watch this race tomorrow, you need to have that MotoAmerica
Live. Look at O'Hara.
subscription.
He's got his knee down, no problem.
No worries there. But you got to have the MotoAmerica Live if you're going to watch this in race format tomorrow. I think we're on Facebook Live right now around the world. Check out, we actually have a full day of racing tomorrow. This will be the only time you'll see the Baggers is tomorrow. Then we'll have the Heritage Cup on Sunday, 2 of our specialty races. But make sure you tune in to the Drag Specialist King of the Baggers as checker flag coming out. The qualifying practice is over with, and Tyler O'Hara is still not taking his final checker, but there's nobody going to touch him. He's almost a full 4 seconds faster than Frankie Garcia and Hayden Gillum.
Our buddy Don Emdy's at home with the Drag Magazine, and I know a lot of these bikes and products will be featured coming up. He was going to be our Grand Marshal, and Don, we certainly wish you were here. We know that you were at the very first Laguna Seca road race back in the day. We wanted to have you back, but man, this pandemic has everybody locked down. And Don, we certainly wish you were here, my friend. There's the checkered flag for Tyler O'Hara.
And he's only a 10th off his fastest time. So I think he's going to be the one to beat. That first race here at Laguna Seca back in 1957. Hayden Gillum on the unfamiliar 79, but he's still just as fast as I remember it.
Man, it's a good-looking bike, isn't it?
Yeah, and a time of 141 flat for him. He was only, about 0.2 of a second off of Frankie Garcia's time. Frankie Garcia going to start middle of that front row. Out of Gonzales, California, Roller Sands Design Indian Challenger. New build for them, and he's showing you just how fast it can go. But they're all going to be chasing Tyler O'Hara on the 29, the fastest guy without a doubt. He turned to 136.7. There's a lot of guys on sport bikes that cannot go that fast.
He'll do a 35 tomorrow.
You think he's good?
I think he'll do a 35.
You think so, really?
Yeah.
All the adrenaline and everything else?
Just all the changes that he's going to be able to make overnight, and then. But I don't know, he might play it safe in a race. But, yeah, I think if he really wanted to, he could do a 35.
He's got the eye of the tiger right now, Rob, as we take a look at the qualifying results. It should be a combined qualifier. Well, no, we won't. We're going to take a look at our schedule for tomorrow. Didn't have results. Sorry about that. But the Stock 1000 is going to kick it off for us tomorrow, followed by the Super Sport. And, again, you can see the times both locally here at 12:30. The Eastern's on the left. The Honda Superbike for their first race of 3 this weekend, kicking off at 3 o'clock locally, 6 o'clock Eastern, Liqui Junior Cup, and then the Drag Specialties King of the Baggers will round out our day here. Rob Bidos, thank you. Good to have the Godfather back in the booth again. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
I can't wait. We'll be on the track tomorrow with a little warm-up, and then we'll come back with our main event. And guys, thanks so much for giving me the time, and appreciate hanging out here with you two professionals. And for all the Drag Specialties folks back at home, I hope you guys have a great night. We'll be giving you action tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Fox as well, and all the Jamesville crew, and my buddy Snuffy Lou Lopez is probably watching as well. Speaking of, we still got a full day of racing tomorrow and Sunday. Things are really starting to heat up here. The final stop of 2020 ready to kick off in a big way at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. It's the Geico MotoAmerica Speed Fest at Monterey. Rob Bidos and Roger Hayden. Jamie Howe, I'm Robbie Floyd. We'll see you mañana bright and early on MotoAmerica Live Plus.